Oh, it's no place. Like everybody else.
Now there's some debate as to whether Hinduism or Zoroastrianism is the world's oldest religion, but what's certain is that Zoroastrianism is the world's oldest monotheistic religion, founded in Persia around 6th century BC, and it's not one you can convert to, but you must be born into it. The Persians brought their religion to Georgia in the 57th century. They would worship spirits and a god called Ahura Mazda and make offerings in fire temples like this, which would house an eternal flame symbolizing purity and the presence of Ahura Mazda. Today, less than 200,000 Zoroastrians remain, mainly in Iran and India. Next to the temple, you can find the upper and lower Betlemi churches, two 15th and 18th century Armenian churches. On this site, in the 5th century, King Gudiashvili built the first church in Tbilisi, resembling the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem. Yeah. We stumble upon the Tbilisi Jvaris Mamas Church. Built in the 5th century, it mirrors the architectural aesthetics of the Lord's tomb on Golgotha. Saint Nino allegedly once lived here, and the original was destroyed by the armies of Tamerlane in the 14th century. And right next to it is the now defunct 16th century Russian Armenian Apostolic Church. The church, which was a library during Soviet times, has been at the center of many controversies and ethnic tensions, as the Georgians claim it was built atop the ruins of an old Georgian church. Protests erupted after the Georgian church tried to reclaim it, and the Georgian priest built a fence around it and put Georgian graves, while in the process destroying and removing Armenian graves. Yeah, straight. Oh wow. Have a look at this. This looks exactly like Europe. Yeah, this may very well be the most beautiful neighborhood in Tbilisi. Yeah, we almost got hit by some asshole driver who didn't stop and started honking while we were crossing the street. The first Armenians arrived in Georgia as early as the 7th century, and it is said that during the 19th century, Tbilisi was more Armenian than Yerevan. And there were more Armenians in Tbilisi, or Tiflis, as they called it, than there were Georgians. They played a crucial role in shaping the Tbilisi we see today. One prominent resident was Armenia's national poet, Hovhannes Tumanyan. Yeah, we walked all the way to see that Armenian guy's house, and it's closed. This is Liberty Square, the main square in Georgia, and at the center of it all stands that statue of St. George. He was a relative of St. Nino, and along with St. Nino, he's the patron saint of Georgia. But the name Georgia doesn't come from him. The name Georgia is actually derived from the Greek Geo and Regia, which means people who farm or work the land, given by one of the early Silk Road explorers. And why is he a patron saint? Well, it is believed that he appeared to King Miriam III in a vision, encouraging him to embrace Christianity and promising him victory in battle. As a result, he came to be associated with the protection and defense of the Georgian people. This is Pravoslavne. Behind me is the Kashveti St. George Church. I actually stumbled upon this church completely by accident, so I have no information on it, but it looks fairly modern. And one of Tbilisi's more modern churches is also beautiful.
Oh, no, you could see.
Wait, the church goes down. We have this random tourist just wandering around this church square here in the middle of Tbilisi. I expect to find a tortoise in the middle of the city. I'm not sure, let's check. I know. Oh, we've stumbled upon the city's flower market. Where the palace of a 17th century Georgian king once stood, now stands the palace of the Georgian president, built in the 1880s. This structure right here is the Orbeliani Defense Tower. It's all that remains of the wall that once surrounded what was once the private estate of the Orbeliani royal family. A church and palace would have been found here. Over there in the distance you can see the Holy Trinity or Sameba Cathedral. Completed in 2004, is the largest church in the Caucasus region, capable of accommodating up to 15,000 worshippers, and is the third tallest Eastern Orthodox cathedral in the world and one of the largest religious buildings in the world by area. It is regarded by many as the most important church in Georgia and stands as a symbol of the country's religious identity and its national and spiritual revival. In January of 2024, an icon of a Russian saint blessing Stalin sparked controversy. I found this really nice Azerbaijani restaurant. The portions here are the largest I've seen, but it's quite expensive, and the chicken was well seasoned but overcooked. And they gave me lemonade, which was pure lemon. I've never had anything so sour. Georgia actually has one of the oldest Jewish communities on earth, and behind me is the Jewish Synagogue. The first Jews arrived in Georgia as early as the 6th century BC during the Babylonian captivity. Then a wave of Ashkenazi Jews arrived in the 19th century following Russia's annexation of Georgia. But many would go to Israel after the fall of the Soviet Union. Today there's less than 3,000 left. The restaurants here are actually quite expensive, but here at these little fast food joints, you can get larger portions and better quality for cheaper prices, but you still get the same slow service. The Assumption Catholic Church. It's one of only a handful of Catholic churches found in this predominantly Orthodox country. Built in the early 1800s on the site where the first Catholic settled and built a monastery in the 13th century. My time in Tbilisi is nearing its end, so in preparation for my exploration of the rest of Georgia, I've come to the Georgia National Museum, founded in 1852. Yeah, the museums are usually closed on Mondays. I tried to visit on Friday, and for some reason everything was closed. Georgia's history began around 1.8 million years ago. The subspecies of Homo erectus known as the Tbilisi hominids, the earliest evidence of humans out of Africa and the direct ancestors of modern Europeans. And the original Georgians would have had blonde hair and blue or green eyes. The first Georgian kingdoms began popping up around the 13th century BC, the most noteworthy and influential of which was Iberia. 725 AD, King David the Builder united the different kingdoms, and him and his great-granddaughter Queen Tamar presided over Georgia's Golden Age, a period of military, political, and economic power. But over the next few centuries, the country will become the subject of invasion and conquest by many foreign powers: Arabs, Turks, Mongols, Persians, Khazars, Romans, Byzantines, and even the Great Tamerlane, amongst others. But the Georgians were fierce warriors who constantly resisted occupation and protected their culture. For this reason, the Persians called this region Gorgistan, or Land of the Wolves. But their reputation as great fighters also landed them on the Soviet front lines during World War II. And in the 15th century, Georgia was once again divided into several kingdoms until 1801, when it came under the control of the Russians, which, aside from a brief period during the Bolshevik Revolution, it would remain until the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. But it seems that Georgia just can't catch a break, as in 2008 the Russian forces invaded and captured the regions of Abkhazia and South Ossetia. Tbilisi probably isn't on most people's bucket list, although I found certain aspects of it shocking and irritating, and the city was a bit rough around the edges. If you do decide to come here, I can promise you it'll be unlike any city you've visited before.